Welcome to the Cyclical Doula Podcast. I'm Emma, a certified Sympto Pro instructor, a fertility awareness educator, and your guide to fertility coaching and reproductive health education from menarche to menopause and all the different types of motherhood in between. If you're seeking a natural, science-backed approach to managing your fertility, understanding your cycle, or simply connecting with your body in a new way, you're in the right place. Each episode is designed to empower you with the tools, knowledge, and confidence you need to thrive in your unique journey. Quick disclaimer, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice or individualized charting support. For specific guidance, please consult with your healthcare provider or fertility awareness instructor. Now, let's dive into today's topic.
Welcome to the space where cycles breathe, where the real raw life of Emmamma leads, from motherhood's highs to charting the low. Your body's story is the star of the show. Matriarch hearts, cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found. Matriarch hearts, cycles that speak.
Hello and welcome tonight. I'm so glad that you're here. This class, How to Raise Body-Literate Kids Without Feeling Like You Have to Know It All, is just all about the beginning steps of learning about how to raise body-literate kids, what that means, why it's needed right now, and how you can start with these conversations that build confidence and body trust. So even if you feel like you don't have all the answers, or maybe you didn't even learn any of this growing up, hopefully you'll leave with some practical tools that you can start using right away and have an opportunity to learn more as we go on. So as we come to think about why this is really important, and I was doing more and more research, and as I've been learning more as a parent myself, we can't rely on schools to give our kids the education that they deserve about their bodies. According to a study from the Center for Reproductive Rights, and these are the most recent ones from 2025, only 29 states plus Washington, D.C. require any type of sex education at all. And just 26 of those states require that the information is medically accurate. So that also, some of those only apply when talking about HIV, not just sex ed in general. So the fact that many states don't need it to be medically accurate when they're teaching about this is mind-boggling to me. And only 27 states in the United States require it to be age appropriate. So again, this means that most kids are not learning this in a safe school education environment, but their information around body education, about reproductive health, about body literacy is coming from things like whispered conversations, playground myths, social media, not from trusted adults who care about them or have the information to actually share this with them and the research behind that. So this matters because kids want to learn from us, from their parents and their caregivers. Research consistently shows that parents are the number one most trusted source for information about puberty, periods, and even sex. And when we stay silent, kids often fill in the blanks with shame or misinformation. So body literacy is the antidote. It's not about one awkward talk. It's about creating a home where body conversations are normal, respectful, and empowering. So a quick little bit about me. I'm Emma. I'm a certified Sympto Pro instructor, a fertility awareness educator, and I help women and families understand their cycles through science-backed methods that build confidence instead of fear. I'm also a mom of two, and like many of you, I didn't grow up with this knowledge. I started charting on my own cycle as an adult, and it changed everything for me. Not just how I plan to have a pregnancy or not, but how I see my body, how that affects my relationship with my husband, and how it's me teaching my kids about this as well. I am passionate about giving families the language and tools that I wish I had starting off as a parent and that I had as a kid growing up. So That's just a teeny bit about me. So many of us weren't taught this, and we feel this weight of not knowing. That's where I come in to help you feel confident in teaching your kids about body literacy and making sure that you know about your body as well. So, we're going to cover three main things today. I'm going to share um, about language and tools for talking about periods, puberty, body changes, just bodies in general, in a way that feels pretty natural. You'll learn how to model confidence and body trust so your kids don't grow up seeing their bodies as something to respect and not to be something to be embarrassed about. So, we're going to talk about those three key things, talk about more language, and model confidence as well. So, for many people, this term body literacy is a new term to them. It's something that has come out more over the last couple years. In simple terms, it's referring to the observing, learning about, and understanding one's body. And so this can have a whole realm of connotation around it. So it could just be specifically about some people take it just about like menstrual cycles and what that means with body literacy around that. But it can also be things like how we're feeling in our body, sensory information that our bodies are receiving. So it can be a whole range of things. And I think as you're listening to this and as you're taking in this information, having all that information and thinking about the values that are important to you as you're sharing with your kids can really benefit from determining what body literacy means for you as an individual and what body literacy means for you as a parent and caregiver to share this with other people. So I have a couple quotes that I want to read to you because I just felt like they were really helpful. They were kind of at the starting point of this phrase, body literacy. So this first one is from Laura, and the quote is, "The concept of body literacy occurred to me after I read a novel illustrating the disempowering impact of illiteracy. The inability to read diminishes self-esteem and opportunities to participate in the exchange of ideas. The connection to the lives of girls and women is obvious. The education of girls is a key strategy in all international development work. It struck me that the most educated women in developed countries live with another kind of illiteracy. They're not taught to read or understand their own bodies. On the contrary, they are taught to distrust their bodies and accept various artificial means to manage them. Learning to observe, chart, and interpret her menstrual cycle events is the only way a woman can acquire body literacy. Otherwise, she must hand over power and decision-making about her sexual and reproductive health to medical care providers who themselves are often body illiterate. Body literacy enables a woman to understand how her health and wellness is connected to her menstrual cycle. She can then engage in meaningful discourse with her care providers and be a full participant in decisions made about her health." I have another quote for you. This one's from Geraldine Mattis, and it is my assumption that we acquire body literacy over time through a continued sharing with peers and wise elders. That sharing includes a detailed understanding of how our whole body works and how that understanding may be meaningful for us. That understanding includes the science of our bodies, but also its mysteries, beauty, blooming, and heart, and our response to them. Body literacy is a deeply intimate and holistic relationship with our bodies and ourselves that dwell in our flesh. And then my third quote is from Megan Lalonde. Those who us have grown up in Western culture tend to perceive ourselves as being composed of two distinct aspects, a mind and a body. As a consequence, we often have difficulty expressing or consciously experiencing ourselves as embodied emotional beings. Body literacy, or learning to read and understand the language of our body, is the first step I need to the marvelous journey of reconceptualizing and then experiencing ourselves as deeply whole, integrative, and intuitive beings. It is the beginning of a lifelong dance with ourselves. So, as you listen to those and reflect on these, this idea of body literacy, I'd um, challenge you to take a moment to just think about what body literacy might mean to you. A lot of these quotes, again, were around the fact of reproductive health or menstrual cycles, but they can be applied to all sorts of things. So take a moment and think about, how is body literacy, how does this phrase, how do these quotes sit with you, and what's coming up for you with that? So language shapes how kids feel about their bodies. Using atomically correct terms doesn't just produce shame, it creates safety and confidence. Kids who know the correct names for their body parts, all of them, are less vulnerable to abuse because they can communicate clearly. How many of these words on here can you communicate without laughing, lowering your voice, or wincing? I'm going to read them off to you: arm, elbow, penis, vulva, nipple, clitoris, testicle, breast, ear, vagina, scrotum, anus. So this is just, it can be good practice for you as a parent. If these words are feeling a little bit uncomfortable for you, just continue to practice saying them in a safe space. Might that just mean to yourself as you're doing day-to-day things when you're alone? Might that be to a partner, so you can say these atomically correct words safely around that, and then also to your kids as those opportunities come up. As these things might just sound like at home, with toddlers, it's going to be super simple. You can just say things like, this is called a vulva, just like you have a nose or an elbow. For school age kids, you can start talking a little bit more about how the body works. You could say, like, a period is when the uterus lets go of its lining. And then for tweens, you could talk about cervical fluid is normal. It's your body's way of staying healthy and preparing for ovulation. So there's a lot of amazing books out there and amazing tools to take the pressure off. In my matriarch body literacy library, I'm going to have a whole opportunities to share all of these in detail, but there's a bunch of amazing books out there. I'd also recommend period starter kits, cycle coloring pages, and even simple anatomy visuals to make these topics less mysterious. Having these as just normal moments of life allow for it to be shame-free and just be confident in regards to the fact that our bodies are all have different parts and all do different things. So we're getting away from this idea of having like one big talk. You're just going to bring stuff up every day in everyday moments, bringing it up naturally. And if you ever don't have the answer, it's okay to say, I'm still learning too. Let's find out together. Or you do the research on your own. One of the books that I do love is Your Whole Body. And this book starts from the head and goes all the way to the toes, and it has so much information. I really like this, that it has the details of every body part and the names of it, and it has so much information about every single body part. So therefore we can just learn, and my kids specifically just love to like flip through it and talk about all the different body parts that we have and the names for it and their functions as well. So you don't have to give your kids a full lecture on any of this, right? And specifically about when we're talking about cycles or menstrual cycles, you can just start learning on your own to begin with. So I really think that because of my experience, there's a lot of power in knowing exactly how your body works, and charting your cycle can be a really good way to do that. So you could check your basal body temperature every day, look at your cervical fluids, mark it in an app or put it on a piece of paper. And as you're doing this as a parent, especially with young ones, those kids are just always around. So you can just tell them what you're doing. My body is worth paying attention to. I'm checking my cervical fluid. I'm writing down my basal body temperature because it changes in different parts of the cycle. Children learn these things through modeling. They copy what they see us doing. Studies have shown that kids who observe positive body practices at home grow up with healthier body image and better self-regulation. So some things that you could do, again, you can, as kids are little, just telling them what you're doing in a very simple way. Things like I'm checking my cervical fluid. This helps me know what part of my cycle I'm in, or I'm menstruating today. I'm going to use a tampon or a pad to help catch the blood. And then for older kids, you could explain things more like charting my cycle tells me if my body can get pregnant right now or when my period's coming, and that feels like really useful information for me about my own body. Our kids don't need cutesy names for body parts, they need real language. Why? Again, I mentioned this earlier, but because using these words like vulva, uterus, cervix, penis not only reduces shame, but also builds safety. Research shows that kids who know proper names for their body parts are less vulnerable to abuse. But language isn't a one and done talk. It's like learning another language. The more you hear it, the more comfortable it becomes. So introduce all of these words like period, ovulation, cervical fluid as naturally you would as elbow or freckle. Keep your explanations short and visual. So if you're talking about periods, you can say your period is when the uterus lets go of its lining. Your ovulation is when an egg leaves the ovary. And then as questions come from our kids, as they always do, you can just answer simply. If they ask, where does the blood come from? Try saying that the blood comes from the uterus. And if they want some more information, that's the part of the body that gets ready for a baby. Or you could also say it comes down the vaginal canal, right? It depends upon what information your kids are ready for. So when kids ask questions, it's important to remember, especially if it's one that catches you off guard, to not panic, respond in an affirming way. Things like, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. And then get curious. So what have you heard about this? What have you heard about periods? And fight the urge to run. Work on calming your body and not feeling discomfort around these topics can be really helpful. The other thing that can be really helpful is just to learn as much as you possibly can around a lot of these topics, at least at a surface level, so you can have a few sentences to respond when all of these questions come up. And then also answer the question. Some kids want to know a lot of details, others just need a quick response. It's also okay to say that I don't know the answer. Let's look it up together, or I'm going to look it up and I'll let you know when I find the answer that feels right and have all that information, and I'll make sure to bring that back and we can continue this conversation. Just the other day, my daughter asked if birds pee. I had no idea how the anatomy of a bird worked. We were at a dinner table with my family and my sister looked it up, but we were able to have the conversation. I said, I have no idea if birds pee. I know that there's definitely something that comes out of their bodies, but I don't know if it's specifically urine. And so we looked that up. So the same things happen with our own bodies around that all. So when we're talking about this with our kids, having the shame-free conversations around body literacy about our bodies can be really, really helpful. You can think about the fact that you were once curious, or maybe you are still, thinking about focusing on preparing our kids, not scaring them about information, listening to understand, not to respond, especially as they get bigger, being honest and simple, respecting their autonomy, being able to walk the talk. So when you share information that's morally your opinion or scientifically based or whatever, being able to walk that talk as well. Keeping learning fun can be really helpful. You're going to want to minimize judgment and don't act like you know it all. The last thing to do is just to build up an open door with your kids. And this is a much bigger parenting conversation, but having this safe place to have this conversation with your kids can be such an empowerment for them. So sit for a second. How comfortable do you want your child to feel talking with you about their sexual health questions, about body literacy, about reproductive health, about menstrual cycles when questions and concerns come up for them. And what steps are you taking today to make that happen? You're here, so it's a great step. But what else can you do? So, body literacy isn't just teaching about facts, it's about teaching trust. If kids grow up seeing that it's a normal to rest when it's tired or to acknowledge how we feel before pushing through, they learn that their body is not an enemy, but a wise guide. So, things that this could look like at home is talking openly about menstrual cycle energy shifts. I'm feeling tired today because my period is coming and I need some extra rest. Or asking open-ended questions. What is your body telling you right now? Do you feel hungry or full? Would you like a hug or would you like some space? If we can drop negative body talk, those we can help our kids with this shame-free, building this big culture of body trust because kids internalize phrases like "I hate my stomach" or "I feel gross" or "I don't look good in this" or "I don't like the way my body works" or "I need to stop eating dessert." Right? So neutral, positive language or telling scientific facts can really help with that. The other thing around building body trust and building this culture in your home is around consent and autonomy. So teach your kids that they don't have to hug somebody if they don't want to. Show them that their body boundaries are always valid and respected. And this can start with infants. Consent is one of the earliest ways that we can teach kids about respecting their bodies and other people's bodies. A consent conscious home is going to sound like, "Would you like a hug?" instead of assuming that they already want one. Or, "Can I take a picture of you?" instead of just snapping one with asking. Or, "Would you like help?" instead of stepping in and taking over. It's also about honoring boundaries. So to help your kids in situations, say, they said stop, so that's enough. No one says no or stop more than once before that boundary is respected. Consent doesn't have to be heavy or awkward. It's built into everyday language. When kids grow up in a home where their no is respected, then they are more likely to respect the no of others and are more likely to speak up when something feels off. Specifically, I feel like one of the greatest things that we can do around this is being able to help our kids in situations know that their boundary is respected, and that often means stepping into uncomfortable situations with things like family members. So when a grandparent wants to give a hug, but our kid doesn't want it to help them hold that boundary when they're little and bigger if they need help as well. So I want you to think about a phrase that you can start using today that models consent in your home. Throw it in the chat and we can talk about it later, or throw it in the comments if you're watching this afterwards. So family-based conversations around bodies improve confidence and reduce shame. And this is where this body literacy becomes legacy building. These conversations are for everyone. And so when we talk about body literacy, it's not for just those people who have those specific body parts. You can think about in a school setting, maybe when you were little, we split into a boys' talk and a girls' talk. That kind of shows that there should be this difference in the fact that we shouldn't know about another person's body, and that can bring more shame and unknowing. When we are able to just have conversations as a whole group about this, we know that it's just a body, and these are the facts about how they work. So this matters because most of us didn't grow up with this knowledge. We learned about our bodies through trial and error, and maybe not until adulthood. But by teaching our kids early, we can break that cycle. We can give them confidence, language, and respect for their bodies that lasts a lifetime. Think about what you were or maybe weren't taught about your body growing up and throw some of them into the chat. Take a minute to sit with it and feel like what you need to share more. You don't need to be a walking health textbook to raise body literate kids. All you need is a willingness to learn alongside them, start small, and model body trust yourself. So we've talked about how powerful it is and could be to raise body literate kids, but here's the thing, you can't pour from an empty cup. Most of us didn't learn how our bodies, especially as women, worked until adulthood, if not yet at all, and we've been taught to see our menstrual cycles as messy or confusing. If you've been listening today and thinking, I want this for my kids, but I still don't feel confident in myself, or this just scratched the surface, this is exactly why I created my matriarch program. Imagine you wake up and know exactly where you are in your cycle, how your energy might feel today, and how your fertility signs reflect your health. You're no longer second guessing when your period will come or why your body feels off. And when your kids ask questions, you have the confidence to answer in a way that feels natural and empowering, not awkward and overwhelming. Matriarch is a 3-month coaching and education program designed to give you cycle confidence and body literacy so you can feel empowered in your own health and pass that confidence on to your kids. We're going to use the Fertility Knowledge Collective Protocol, a symptothermal approach that combines cervical fluid observations and basal body temperature charting, all learned over this 3 months with my personal support. You're not just signing up for lessons, you're getting a partner for 3 months. I'll review your charts, answer your questions, and walk you through any challenges you're facing. You'll also get access to my body literacy resource library, which includes practical tools and guides that you can use right away. And for those of you who are parents, I'll include a bonus parent toolkit with scripts and activities for raising body literate kids. When I first started charting, I felt like I had discovered a language that no one had taught me. I realized I spent years disconnected from my body. And now I know exactly when I'm fertile, when I need rest, and how to explain this to my kids without shame. That's what I want for you. Not just the facts, but confidence and trust in your body. I'm offering you a founding member rate of $495 or 3 monthly payments of $170. Enrollment is open now, and I have a handful of spots available. You can join today by going to emmamma.com/matriarch, emmamma.com/matriarch, using the link in the chat. And if you've been waiting for the sign to feel confident and trust your body and teach your kids with ease, this is it. I'd love to see you inside Matriarch and help you build a legacy of body literacy for your family. As a thank you for being here live, I'm going to give away some prizes after I turn off the recording that will help you keep building body literacy at home. I'm going to give a grand prize of a 50% off coupon for Matriarch. That's nearly $250 off. I'm going to be giving away a copy of Your Whole Body book, which is one of my favorite books for building body literacy with little kids. And then a third winner is going to receive a 30-minute one-on-one coaching session with me where we can dive into your cycle and answer any of the questions you have. So drop in the chat one thing that you're taking away from tonight's masterclass, and I'll pick the winners in a couple of minutes after turning off the recordings. And those who are watching live or catching the replay, if you enroll in Matriarch by August 1st, 2025, I'm gifting you a free basal body thermometer to get you started on charting with just the right tools. All you have to do is to join by then, and I'll send it straight to your door. Thanks for spending time with me, and whether you start using some of these simple ideas we talked about tonight or decide to join Matriarch, you're building something that's powerful for your family, a foundation of body literacy that will last for years to come. And again, if you're ready to dive in, go to emmamma.com/matriarch or head to the link in your email. I'd love to see you inside Matriarch and guide you through this next step. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for spending this time with me on the Cyclical Doula Podcast. If today's episode helped you feel more connected to your cycle or empowered on your fertility journey, I'd love for you to share it with a friend or leave a review. It really helps this podcast reach more people like you. And if you're ready to dive deeper, join my free Red Circle community. It's where we go beyond the podcast with exclusive resources, live Q&A sessions, and support for charting, planning, and thriving in your cyclical life. Visit the show notes to join the Red Circle today. I can't wait to see you there. Until next time, keep listening to your body. It's telling you so much more than you realize.
Welcome to the space where cycles breathe, where the real raw life of Emmamma leads. From motherhood's highs to charting the low, your body's story is the star of the show. Matriarch hearts, cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found. Matriarch hearts, cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found. Matriarch hearts, matriarch hearts, cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found. Matriarch hearts, cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found. Matriarch hearts, matriarch cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found. Matriarch hearts, matriarch hearts, cycles that speak, charting the truth in every peak. This is the cyclical doula sound, where body wisdom is always found.